guys, it's Kelly from Cards by Christine here with you on a Technique Thursday to share with you the floating strip technique. So check it out. This is the floating strip technique, and I'll walk you through how I did this. And I'm using, let's see here, Quiet Meadow for the sentiments. Thinking of you and heartfelt love and caring thoughts are with you for the inside. The background has this new embossing folder called Hand Worn, I think. Time Worn. See? Time Worn. And then the meadow dies. So just a couple meadow dies here. And then I've got a couple other products that I brought in, and I'll show you how we did this. It's so cool. I love it. I've seen multiple variations of this. I wanted a sympathy card. Unfortunately, I've got a couple funerals coming up, so I kind of was using that to frame my mind as to how this was going to come together. And this is how it did. So what I'm going to do is take a stitched rectangle, is my, like, what I'm putting in my mind for my output. And I'm going to take a piece of vellum. Now, what I have seen is this done on acetate. And I wanted to try it on vellum because I figured it would work much the same as it does. I just feel as though vellum is maybe a little more accessible to people. I mean, obviously, if you have acetate, go ahead and use acetate, or use vellum if that's what you have. But that's the reasoning behind why I did it on vellum. Trying to pick up my strips. Now, I made strips. I took some scraps, went through the scrap drawer, and pulled the pattern, or pulled the colors from the Harvest Meadow DSP. So these are the colors that are in that DSP. So I'm using Crumb Cake, followed by Soft Sea Foam. The next color is Calypso Coral. Then we've got Misty Moonlight and Bumblebee. And then to kind of frame it, I put one more strip of Crumb Cake on the top. No necessary rhyme or reason to how I'm gluing these down. I wanted to keep a little bit of the crumb cake on the top and bottom, so I have roughly, we'll say a little better than 1/8 of an inch on the spacing between here. And that is the first time I pulled that ruler out. I did not measure this when I was doing it. That was just to give you that reference. So I'm just putting some glue on the back, roughly spacing it about 1/8 of an inch, eyeballing that. Then taking my next strip and doing the same, keeping them as straight as I can. Again, with the eyeballs, that may or may not be the case. And then, ooh, got a little crazy on the gluing there. Okay, last but certainly not least, bringing in the framing piece of Crumb Cake. And letting it dry, maybe not completely dry, but quite close to dry, and then running it through my die cutting machine with this stitched rectangle. You can use any shape. I've seen a bunch of these done with circles. And by the magic of TV, here I have my piece of the floating strip. Then I put dimensionals behind it. I was pretty generous with the dimensionals. I didn't want to run into a situation of having it not stick well, especially on this embossed background. So I cut out 2 of the various wildflowers in Early Espresso. I have it on an Early Espresso standard card base. So we've got 8.5 by 5.5 scored at 4 1/4. fold that. We've got a standard mat of 4 inches by 5 1/4 with the Time Worn, I think, embossing folder. Then that is on Berry Vanilla. Got the various colors on my vellum with a stitched rectangle. Put my wildflowers on with some dimensionals and liquid glue. Then this die is also in the Meadow dies, and the Thinking of You is stamped in Early Espresso with Early Espresso sponged around the edges to kind of help it stand out. I've got a dimensional on this side glued flat around here. Oh, I need to pull my catalog. I'm not quite in the whole scheme of things to have all these names down yet. So let's see here. I've got the diamond weave ribbon, just a small little piece here, and I bannered the edges as it's coming off. And I'm using the brushed metallic adhesive back dots. I didn't know if I should do the coppery color or the brushed nickel-y color. So I kind of did a couple of each, and I'm real happy that I did. And then last but certainly not least, I took the Early Espresso ink on my block and some Stella and flicked the whole card front. I'm like running out of words, guys. Flicked the whole card front with this beautiful brownie colorish Early Espresso Stella, which is like the ultimate finishing touch here. You can see it all over the place. It's so divine. I'm just so in love with it. So that finishes off my card. What do you think? Have you seen this technique before? Do you plan to do it? I really hope you do. It's awesome. I struggled. This is the technique that I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do a sympathy card, didn't know how I wanted it to look, and then I really hit the bricks on what color scheme I wanted to do. And you know what? What pulled me out of the mud was grabbing my DSP sampler, flipping through it, and being inspired by the color schemes in the DSP. So that's literally what I did. Found the Harvest Meadow paper. I didn't want to use the Harvest Meadow paper, or I wasn't against using it, but I didn't know where I would want it on the card that I kind of had fishing around in my mind. And I just used that color scheme to pick out the strips. So that is a little maybe inspiration for you as to how you can kind of, you know, get yourself out of a rut when you are stuck in one, because I was. But anyways, I hope you have a wonderful Technique Thursday. You can catch Chris later tonight live making some beautiful cards, and the weekend is in sight, so hang in there. We'll all make it together.